Gilg Jew, Gilg J as Gilg Nerach.
Claare na Gael sin enam a Claare hengach shows Bavalia Musaholtacha. I'm Robert Coutin Carswell, Robert a Carslach.
Have you ever had tell of old Bobby Bob?
And it's my pleasure to present this programme, Claare na Gael, which comes to you in the English language as vis chit dut Sagilg, and which comes to you in the Manx Gaelic, Chinyanamera, the mother tongue of Ellen Banning, the Isle of Man. As Mabanach dut Rish. Godredson may have been the stuff of legend, the source for stories of the wonderful King Ori, but the Manx people had repelled him twice in 1079. Unfortunately, their continued resistance was unsuccessful on his third attempt, and, having conquered, he established his kingdom of Man and the Isles. Ons tjaglam skielen ferish Jacob as Wilhelm Grimm, ten naskiel en misich Elsa Achtel. Tred rauwe danjon, as we nienegge, as jesh en misich Elsa Achtel. As tre henkie de way sledden ezich, door ten erek, de rau femek pusa. With Cooish Feedheeders Quakers Feed, the Manx Language Festival 2025 having been held over the last few days, it's Manx music here in Claare na Gael. And this is the Mollag Band. Tawes Geisjachrish Radio Banning, Stasiwn na Nasiwn, Viscol Scaliamach, Waidulish, Ellen Banning. The earliest song known to have been collected in the island, noted down by the Reverend Philip Moore at Bishop's Court from an old woman there in about the year 1792, shortly after anyway, and that was Finna's Arshan by the Mollig Band, from whom more later. On Godred Crowan's death in 1095, his eldest son Lagman Godredson became king, but challenged by his younger brother Harold, Lagman captured Harold and blinded him and castrated him. But Lagman's conscience was troubled, and he went on a pilgrimage of absolution, and that was to Jerusalem, but he died on the road. The resulting power vacuum was filled by Donald, son of Taig, but his tyranny led to a revolt, and he fled to Ireland. Godred Crowan and his followers were about fourth-generation descendants by Norwegians who'd settled in the Western Isles of Scotland and owed fealty to the Norwegian crown. And now Ingemund was sent by the King of Norway to be King of Man. But the people again revolted against him and his followers, and that was because of their pillage and rape, apparently, and they were all killed either with the sword or by burning. Politics was a rough sport in them days. Another Norwegian exile, Magnus Barefoot, arrived, and he took direct control, but he was later killed in a skirmish raiding in County Down. And so in 1102 came another son of Godred Crowan, Olaf Godredson. Ren moir Elsa achtel cordelrishin dyn yesheshe hector au femer yn ninog chitta ve pusht, de berger kedau, fedden per enjach, Jason yinerish saige. Vejere, hangt dan je bij vader soel. She hans van enemer. Stre hugga jiri refusa hori. Renne shen konent, de berg Elsa achtel ficherelach nies. O, doortener, genelli gin enjen. Genel de jaru door de woer, voor de ish vagen en gie, gaus die chitchis red, as klaasjen nach haar gulligen mugene. Kaartesh, door Hans, maar wel een chit maakt de wel ik kerelach nies, ga gin en pussy. Trewad olje een saaigen boord, as wat olje niet de mai, door den woer. Elsa, stjachliatse teller, as gin schiele perteljoen. Eich gauw Elsa achtel, schies a fudgel wijn grogen se bolle, as gaus wie gol roigus en teller, rennie nederach soes noese fargel ek de chorsja en tre. And there were songs that were collected in the island in the late 19th century which were well known in the English-speaking tradition. Dr. John Clegg went through the manuscript and made translations into Manx of some of the English titles. In more recent years, Colin Jerry wrote sets of Manx words for some of these songs, such as this, Tamagrai Cooish Manx. Tamagrai Gurish and Grian, my love is like the sun. And that was Cooish and Cúideach singing Colin Jerry's Manx version of The Curragh of Kildare. Tre Henk Elsa Acht Ulgus and Teller, Gawi Stoil is huggy en a jadu roosje bullag, na bech fe murray chroma shees, as Claare a dreamek ve gonnach lesh burren jou immerjach. Esh huggy a fudgel phone for said, as renny caddying. As cows van lewn rai shees, na bech na sulien in dow, renny cow shilje huggers vai. As for jere renny chroniche, spy, for fege deg na avrian as sightstjach ons mullige gemer skinnig jonek. Esh gauw Elsa achtal toyach der Kenia, nod rawi smunien. De gin en pusa hans, as de bech peertje as de ginnach shin kore de golstjach se teller de hele ljoen, foddy de ginnach spy shen tujamenach jonas maraway. Maar sjo ons shen vina saai as vi Kenia lesh ulio en yard, as ish dobber an a drach hacher jurgit. Rish ulio en tre sjo wat furchten hoest na Griechen son ridden achter you, as wat furchten ons verdeel. According to the Chronicle of the Kings of Man and the Isles, from which we'll be hearing quite a bit this time, in the year 1102, Olaf, son of Godredson, began to reign over all the Isles, and he reigned 40 years. He was a man of peace, and was in such close alliance with all the kings of Ireland and Scotland that no one ventured to disturb the kingdom of the Isles during this time. He took a wife named Africa, daughter of Fergus of Galloway, by whom he had issue Godred. He also had many concubines, by whom he had issue 3 sons, Reginald, Lagman, and Harold, and many daughters, one of whom was married to Somerled, lord of Argyll, and this was the cause of the ruin of the whole kingdom of the Isles, for he had issue by her 4 sons. And we'll move onward now to where we're told, in the year 1142, Godred, son of Olaf, crossed over the sea to the king of Norway, whose name was Hinge, and did homage to him. He was well received and remained some time. Thomas Collister and David Kilgallen, with music to which they reckon should have had you doing the polka. Stasiwn yn asiwn yn ei sio, sian dy greu radio banning, as yn sio tawas geis jachrys Claare na Gael. Mer yn pyn Robert Gytyn Carswell, Robert y Carslach.
Did the other hear tell of old Bobby Bob?
Me bailt Claashen en Claare sio rish, tir redden in de radio vanning, me besu broe kraman eis rish, rishachten lukt je guller kriele. De podcast jintje Claare na Gael nies, sjen redden nasty in de radio vanning, na trud kere een podcast elia. Apple Podcasts, Amazon Audible, Spotify, Google Podcasts, TuneIn, na Alexa. In the same year, the Chronicle tells us, so this is still in 1142, 3 sons of Harold, the brother of Olaf, who had been brought up in Dublin, assembled a large body of men, and among them all the refugees from the dominions of Godred, came to Man and demanded from the king 1/2 of the whole kingdom of the Isles for themselves. The king, having heard their application, and being desirous to pacify them, answered that he would take advice on the subject. When the day and place for holding a meeting had been agreed upon, these most wicked men spent the interval in planning the death of the king. On the appointed day both parties met at the port called Ramsey, and sat down in order, the king and his followers on one side, and they with theirs on the other. Reginald, the second brother, who was to give the fatal blow, stood apart, speaking to one of the chiefs of the country. Verjere doet op een aansjurishen in a veil. She slatges a teller as vou maken orne wel else chit back. Maar saw hyen in a veil, as huri Elsa na sai rosje bullig, as ish kenje lesh ulju en yard. Kren vet hou kenje, doorten in a veil. Och, nee, drege Elsa. Kren acht na wel njart en macht de genje. De gin en poese hans, as de berg peetje ein, as de nesigheid wij moer, as de ginnishin corre de hit gesaw de hele ljoen, fuddy de ginnige spy tusje men a gjon, as maraway. Tan Elsa ein achtel de jaru dorten in a veil, as chillerach haie schies de gobberen a drach acher tjurgit. Lur tamel trehur machen slijve hoes na griechen, nog denken in a veil rish, as va pestje daru na smoe as na smoe, door de mansje risherilje dread. She sliat gus a teller as ye gern was gulla ginno where Elsa is in a veil. Now, as John Caneen used to say in his story of the little posseltree, when the dawn came, King David wasn't like some of the ones I'm seeing before me now, another little sleep, another little slumber. So this song isn't for them, because Emma Christian sings a Ren Savinach, the slumber song.
Iglia nu
A Wren Sabinach, collected by Mona Douglas from Mrs. Shimon of Foxtel, but the tune was also collected by John Clegg from the boy Dall, Tom Kermode of Bradda, for a song which was Treva Mish Roshnish Maria Beg. Shen Wren en Hilje Dred is een Shen, ons een teller, hure eder Elsa Achtel as een inner veil, nin sai as uds een keinjere gelia. Eis vrije jou kirrid bejunel oru. Och, nee, doort Elsa, krij nacht na wel lacht njaart hem Kenia. De jinnen poesa hans, as de berg pejain, as de nesach ede bij moer, as de jinnach shin kore gesaw de hiele ljoen, fuddy de jinnach a spy tusje merachion as maraway. Tan Elsa ein achtel de jaru door de gilje. As lukte de saishies ljorri, rauwe toiach der gulle lesh eigne mai. Hoes na Griechen wat al je forach de nersen de hit bak. Ach, en on denke, door de maasje risje banasje. She slats gus a teller, as jich erne bezelse junno. Maar zo haie banasje schies, as huri ulju en troer, as dobber en moerok. As tre brai jou en oor, eis dinch Elsa G. mechion en acht, fuddy a peja kommesach, ve marowich. On being summoned to approach the king, turning to him as if in the act of saluting him, he, Reginald, raised his gleaming battle-axe on high, and at a blow cut off the king's head. And so here we have Olaf Godredson having been murdered by his nephew. The chronicle moves on to 1143. In the following autumn, Godred, that's King Olaf's son, came from Norway with 5 ships, and put in at the Orkneys. All the chiefs of the isles were rejoiced when they heard of his arrival, and, assembling together, unanimously elected him for their king. Godred then came to Man, seized the 3 sons of Harold, and, to avenge his father's murder, awarded them the death they deserved. Another story is that he put out the eyes of 2 of them and put the 3rd to death. In the year 1144, Godred began his reign, and reigned 39 years. Many things worthy of note might be related of him, says the chronicle, which we have omitted for the sake of brevity. Seems a pity, doesn't it, when there are so few records available and they leave things out for the sake of brevity. And the Manx fishing fleet was traditionally interested in the herring fishery, although most of the larger vessels are now taking advantage of the start of the scallop fishing season, which started on the 1st of November. However, this is a traditional song about the herring fishery to which, in fact, Tom Kermode, despite being blind, he was the boy Dall, the blind boy, despite his blindness, he made his living as a fisherman for many years. But anyway, this is Man in Vegveen.
Van en veen tans minne kin non gi til en gi sieran Tredden on kordes na preden side Går the characten medan Son fail yon be much go on the yigan son weapons skillan Here's a kin rale journey ja Golus na chol von herren Here a gavina shol you the min and tide a hit van I ein Sjaks a fajana yigan the men as the pagan and madigan Go tie the higher chickens on your cry, hello, it together. Destruction, solution, and gun the stations on the gallon. len, jog sin a shin, a gavig as a hook vara. Toyak na nabi and egas ya, fegman and manic and chicken. Pigmas just round us to listen along as begin sign on stike again. On stike again, but a job that you're less bad, you're goodness, liga. As the abbey by the goal alive, for this mutilation and shiver. Be pitch it, I figush nyack might and sny, I need to go cover. Of the men hosted and gorge him a gin, great a good time post of volley. Tons minne kidden on chi til en i stjeren. Tritten on kortes de breden, cycle rauda garagnen medan. Son peilion dimage golron, you can son weapons gadan. Isikin malestjön elia goldusten sjol från karan. Och vanen de vintons minne kidden on chi til en i stjeren. Tritten on kortes de breden, cycle rauda garagnen medan.
Manin Vegbeen, describing the traditional ways of the herring fishery as it was in the 19th century, and a song that was collected from Thomas Crellin and Peel. It was sung there by the band Skeel, with Philly Gorn leading the way on the vocals there. According to the Chronicle, Godred here was invited by the people of Dublin to be the king there, despite opposition from the Irish king. However, when he returned, he felt secure enough on the throne to start throwing his weight about. And one disgruntled chieftain, Thorfinn, took his grievance to another party, the Earl Somerled. King Olaf Godredson's daughters had married Somerled, or in fact, I say Somerled, this is the way it's spelt in the Chronicles. Sorley is another way of pronouncing it in the Gaelic tradition, but Somerled it appears in the Chronicles. Thorfinn now asked Somerled for one of his sons in place of King Godred Olafsson. And back to the Chronicle it tells us, in the year 1156, a naval battle was fought between Godred and Somerled during the night of the Epiphany of our Lord, with great slaughter on both sides. But when daylight came, they made peace and shared between them the kingdom of the Isles. And from that day to this, and the Chronicle was written about 200 years after these events, the kingdom has remained divided. Thus was the kingdom of the Isles ruined from the time the sons of Somerled got possession of it. So this is when they became, the followers of the sons of Somerled became the kings of the Isles, and that took out the middle section. It left a rather strange kingdom of Man and the Isles, with the island here, and then the bottom few isles of Scotland. But then after the kingdom of the Isles, then it left Lewis and Harris as part of the kingdom of Man and the Isles. So a slightly odd situation. Dinch Elsa den Voirek, gelees weg een peetje moer de loer, de bij kurret de hiele ljoen, fuddy de berg een marwich, lorish a spy tusje mersen. Esch renne voir illach maag, tan Elsa ein vier achtel de jaru. As lorgie sai shies, rennish kenje, rish na vier elje. Hoes na Griechen, ren en dunje poesie voorachten rish tamelt beg. Ach, no na denke wen rish, no de rauwe persegge de kinjach chit de ween a smoe, doort hij, sein dus heen golschieskes de teller, as Jane na ter jit Elsa. As tre henke stjaach se teller, as hoer hij ad uljoen, nin saai as kenje regelia, din she dau, de rauwe ulju kunte a peetje, fuddy de berg de kummesach egg. Kummesach egg Elsa, as a kummes de berg e marwich, ljorish a spy, de hagerach de jinnach e tusjum, kaartig en tre weg een peetje, na hai posen, as e shiele ljoen. As tre chile ulju je sjo, dilia mach, kreeg o achtel tan Elsa ein. Tullach Vannin, Rain Rillia Cheshire, and then Peder McCoubrey's tune and Ratch Ranag.
The Nation Station, Manx Radio.
Tashu Geistach Rish Stasiwn and Ashun, Radio Banning, she Claare na Gael with Sir Clash and Cartnish, Mish Robert Cutting Carswell, Robert a Carslach.
Heard tell of our Bobby Bob.
Lugden Bansh je sai shees, Renne Corner Jereg at the Rai Liaus nek na Firelia. Channy a dun je pussy keret hus na Griechen na Lummerken ristre fada. Ach, no na denk pecher be back day, smunny de jinnach eschen heen gol as jin na badolje de juno. As on shen hure ulje na quegjow, as uts and dobberen as keen je feet try. As een derre jen a surgeon and jay elia. Craen droch hacher ter jit de way on, dame. Oh, ma hans wien, doort Elsa, de jinnach shin pusa, as de berg page ein, as de nesach de way moor, as de jinnach shin core de hit hies on shaw, de hele lune, fuddy de jinnach a spy ter way faggot, as sightstiach hoos on shen, Tusham shees kiona feitje, as maraway. As krenach nabel njaartijn, ach de genimach jon shen. Nishesh doort Hans, ga nodem smunien de wel kiel smoene shen ralaal se lucht em. In the year 1158, says the chronicle, Somerled came to man with 53 ships, gave battle to Godred, put him to flight, plundered the whole island, and retired. But Godred crossed over to Norway for the purpose of asking assistance against Somerled. And the chronicle tells of a man called Gilcolm raiding St. Mackle's monastery, but the saint miraculously appeared and caused Gilcolm, as the chronicle says, to expire in great torture and agony. Upon Gilcolm's death, such a great fear seized upon Somerled and his army that as soon as the ships were floated by the rising tide, the fleet left the port and returned home as quickly as possible. In the year 1164 there was a battle at Ramsey between Reginald, brother of Godred, and the Manxmen, and through the treachery of a certain Viscount, the Manxmen were put to flight, and Reginald began to reign. On the fourth day, however, Godred returned from Norway with a large body of troops, and, seizing his brother, mutilated him and deprived him of his sight. They were charming manners between family members in those days, weren't they?
That's Tammy Fool. Day arms Jinnu Komano Azalan Don Azalan Jurg Tired Agrow Jednan smooth. Nish Tammy Gavrach Era nege shore. Als seren snijp en allen sneeuw. Als een kommer treffes on. Als banag montje te mee. Chitas Tommy Fool. Day arms Jinnu Komano. Azalen Don Azalen Jurg. Tired Agrow Chidnan Lurg.
And there we heard the Mollag Band with Arena Fee, and a song collected by Mona Douglas, I think from Mrs. Shimon in Foxdale again, but that was a version slightly adapted anyway that the Mollag Band put together there, Arena Fee. And back to the chronicle. In the year 1176, Vivian, Cardinal Legate of the Apostolic See, came to Man, and in the discharge of his office caused Godred to be united in lawful marriage with his wife, the daughter of MacLachlan, son of Murrogh, King of Ireland, who was mother of Olaf, then 3 years old. They were married by Silvanus, abbot of Rievaulx. On the same day Godred gave to the abbot Silvanus a piece of land at Myerscough, where he soon built a monastery. In the year 1182, says the chronicle, Reginald, a man of the royal race, came to Man with a large number of followers during the absence of the king, and in the first combat put to flight a party of those who guarded the coast, killing about 20 of them. Later on, however, in the same day, the Manxmen, assembled in a body, manfully encountered and slew him with nearly all of his followers. In the year 1187, on the 10th of November, Godred, King of the Isles, died on the island of St. Patrick in Man. So probably a bit of a surprise to everyone that he died a peaceful death after all that bloodshed. Esh dúirt Hans, nó de velú choachtal elsa, nim goilú de ve me ven fúsi. Gawe a lawek as renny li jaili sus na Grecian, as we banishoch chalirach. Beggan de rei looked out ve pusht, dúirt Hans rische ben. Tammy gol macht de abrige, de chos na hurgit, stiach leat so var as bunne naru, de bod aran ve ein. Cart mai nimshen Hans fin dúirt ish. As trebe Hans engol, renny cogra son heen pert de vrot brau, as sulji gus va. As tre henke gesen dúirt ri heen, nishesh, kreves rienoem hoyacht, liesen bun hoyacht na liesen hoyacht. Cartelo nim hoyacht. Esh, di a sai, as tre na dodi begelia dúirt ri heen, nishesh, kreves rienoem, liesen bun hoyacht na liesen golse vien hoyacht. Esh hug e heen na lais an yaru as Henk Cadle Urry. Another of Colin Jerry's translations of Anglophone songs collected in the island in the late 19th century is of the song If Young Men Could Swim, and Cúish Manx sing Colin's Manx version Ní Callan an Rai mar Mwe Sléigean. Cúish Manx with a song about how the boys will adapt to chase the girls, whatever form they take. Henk Hans de Balias ve furachtan on shenrish tamot liaur. Ach a denk elsa rish, mar so doet irish en heen, ha jejach tam elsa achtal, na veli riw smunninertje tyres Gael be. Ach 3 jaar na faster beg gera as fos na denki, hai Hans roos de ien huistaru be win. Ach, gerawi win weg daar we chorer be, ach we on shen the lie on, as ish na chadla. Godred Olafsson's father had died in 1142, but Godred's own reign as King of Man and the Isles didn't become established until 1144. His reign was anything but peaceful, including losing the centre part of the Isles as Somerled's successors became lords of the Isles. Nevertheless, Godred himself had an apparently peaceful demise on St. Patrick's Isle on the 10th of November, 1187. Ach, nicht een jit de Ermahan de Beersoel as so signed out Corgera Claare Gael. You can enjoy 2 hours of the best and chill out music for your Sunday evening in the company of Chris Pearson from 7 till 9, and then at 9 Judith Lay will be here with the programme Sundown. Well, I may be about to be away, but not to the ocean, as is the case with Cashin, ta Cashin Shulgus and Erga. There's another more prosaic version where he's away to Whitehaven, but in this case he's away to the ocean with the band Clash Bua. Well, Shenesh, and so until the next time, this is Robert Cutting Carswell, Robert a Carslach.
Old Bobby Bob.
Wishing you a very good night. Eve I'm a Creorts as Duts, my Yeri and Share.